Hello. I'm just sharing, getting everything set up. Hello, Victoria. Thank you for liking the live. I appreciate you. We're going to talk about the living sky, which is utilizing true sidereal, not tropical astrology. It's using how the living sky is above us, and free of distortion as well. And I'm going to look at where the planets are this week and how that's going to affect us individually and collectively. Hi. Say hello and let me know where you're from. I'm just sharing. I'm broadcasting to multiple channels, to TikTok on 2 different channels. And I'm also on YouTube and YouTube on 2 channels and Facebook on 1 channel. So I'm on all those different channels. Hello. And we're going to talk about the celestial alignments for this week based on true sidereal or the living sky. And yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. All right. So if you're interested in that, stick around. Hello, Miss Carol. How are you doing? It's been a while. I'm in the process of painting a deck of tarot cards. Well, they're not really tarot. They're oracle. Let's be real. They're oracle. I do have a tarot deck, but I won't paint that. I will just print the pictures. I did all the pictures for that in Procreate, but I look forward to using my own deck now. That's the exciting part for me. But on Tuesdays, what I like to do is just talk about the celestial alignment and what we're going to experience energetically and how to work with those energies. So that's what we're going to talk about today. If you're on either of the channels that I'm on, liking, commenting, sharing, all of those things are supportive. And if this is something that you're interested in, know that every single week on the Tuesday, I go through the celestial alignment until the next Tuesday, looking at the living sky. So where are the planets right now, and where are the transits happening? I firmly believe in working with the sky as it is above us, as opposed to using something like traditional, tropical, mainstream, or seasonal astrology, whichever way you choose to call it. But in tropical astrology, it is based on the sky being frozen 2,000 years ago. So every single March 20th, we begin Aries season. And I don't want to work like that. I want to work with, if the sun is in Aries, then we're in Aries season. Okay, so that's why I work with the living sky and with the format called True Sidereal. I love you too. And thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me, even for a little bit. So today we are looking at energetically, let's see. Last week we had a huge thing. We had the solar annular eclipse on February 17th with a new moon in Aquarius, with the new Chinese astrology, year of the fire horse. And there were many other religious events that started on that particular day. So the 17th was huge. Thank you for the gift, Carol. And hugs to you too, friend. So we had all of that fire energy that we were dealing with. This, like I said, the solar eclipse, new moon, and the opening of the fire horse year created this surge in momentum. Some of us may have felt that get up and I'm on point. I'm heading in the direction of my dreams, or I know I have a purpose and I'm going to go get it now. But many people felt this like they had to make a decision really quickly, that they had to change directions or act on something, whether that's a new insight or an idea that came up. We need to be cautious with that energy, that we're not running too fast, heading too quickly in that direction. Well, I forgot, I got to put my comments up. Otherwise I won't see what's going on Facebook. I got to stick my comments up there. Okay. This week is different though. So we're about a week after the solar eclipse, the new moon, all of that. This week, we're looking at integrating whatever we picked up from that last week. The other thing that we're doing is we're looking at the nervous system, the mind, and the daily routines, how they need to organize now or reorganize around what was revealed through the eclipse and fire horse and new moon, like all of that stuff happening at once. So Virgo energy would be really great right now. But I'll tell you if we got any Virgo energy. The question now is not what should I start, but what is actually stable enough to continue. We want to be thinking about longevity. This isn't the flash in the pan. So what has got the teeth? What is really aligned to you? Can we clear some of the stuff that maybe you had been thinking about doing? One of the things that making a decision does help with is the fact that it frees up that energy, right? The energy of indecision. It can be quite chaotic. It's a much more active energy. So now that you get into that decision, you can focus your energy instead of having it scattered all over the place. All right. So what are we going to be looking forward to from February 24th to March 2nd? So from this Tuesday until next Tuesday. This week, like I said, is that integration window following the eclipse cycle and the ignition of the fire horse year. The sky is no longer initiating the spark. It is asking us to stabilize what was awakened. We have our sun in Aquarius. And remember, we're going to talk about, this is where it actually is right now in the sky. You can look up on any app. The Sky Live is a great website. They also have an app that you can get on your phone. There's Stellarium app, anything that's looking at the living sky. Now, true sidereal encompasses the 13th sign of Ophiuchus, like it includes that. Sidereal, so when it's without the true, sidereal and Vedic, they include some more stuff, but not necessarily the 13th sign. And then obviously in tropical mainstream astrology, the 13th sign is not mentioned and everything is frozen in time and occurs in intervals. The constellations aren't the same sizes, and that's something that true sidereal takes into consideration as well. So whereas one that's not necessarily applying to the true sidereal heliocentric method, it may be looking at the sky from a different lens is all. So I'm just being very clear that I'm looking at this as the living sky as it is above us right now, and I include all of the planets and signs as long as they have an effect on our energy. Okay. All right. So we have the sun continuing in Aquarius, shifting the collective focus away from purely personal direction and towards systems, networks, and shared futures. So Capricorn was the energy of taking the truth and the true direction that you're meant to be going in and building the foundations and the structures so that it will be stable enough to handle legacy energy. So you can have this for generation to come. Aquarius says, that's great. That's great. You're thinking about your children, but how about we think about all of humanity? Or how about we think about the future? How can we make this innovative? How can we tweak this? And, and how can we make this apply for more of humanity? So we're being asked to think in terms of contribution as opposed to our individual identity. This is also asking us to look at the surface questions about where old structures are no longer supporting the direction that humanity is moving. So Capricorn maybe is thinking in terms of, this is what's always worked. This is what builds a solid foundation. This is what allows us to have that really strong structure. But Aquarius is forward thinking. It's future oriented. So it allows us to take the idea, which is great and has strong structure and foundation and longevity, and it says, now let's innovate this. Let's make this really revolutionary. Let's make this work for the future generation. We have Mercury in Pisces. So remember, Mercury is your thoughts, your communication. It's that landscape. So when we have Mercury in Pisces, Pisces is kind of the wise sage energy. It's the last sign in the astrological wheel, which gives it the energy of learned those through the entire thing. All your lessons culminate, your experiences, right? So it's really the more senior sign. Although Pisces can be known to be a bit more fluid with its boundaries, which can put it into a position of codependency, overcaring, martyrdom, things like that. So we have to be careful with that energy. Pisces, when we apply it to the mind, it softens it, because Pisces is a much softer energy than, say, Aries, which is coming in next. It softens the analytical mind, and it brings in and amplifies that intuitive perception. So it's a beautiful energy to have in the mind. Your communication is going to start to become less linear and more symbolic. So people might start to realize or notice that insights arriving through feeling, dreams, imagery, or sudden realization, rather than just reasoning, like logicking it out. I'm someone that functions a lot through that logic stream. I have a lot of fire and air energy. I fire, water, and then air. But air is in the communication. And so I have a very logical framework. When you apply that more fluid energy or that more intuitive energy, it's absolutely beautiful to combine that with the logic, because we should be having both. Tickle in my throat. And my tea is almost too hot. 555. Apologies. Okay, so we want that melding of both, right? The logic and the symbolic, or the intuition, that the feeling end. So the opportunity is here for us to listen deeper to what other people are saying. And remember, listening isn't just about hearing with your ears, right? When we're listening, we are gathering information from the field. And that listening can be through the intuitive senses. It can be through facial expression, body language, tone, pacing, all kinds of things. So you're not just listening to what they're saying, you're listening to the cadence or rhythm that they're speaking in. You're listening to the speed in which they're speaking. You're listening to the frequency beneath the words, the intention. You're feeling that into your field, that it's real. That's the beauty of having that Pisces energy in such a logical space. The challenge is confusion if clarity and grounding are not maintained. It's very open, that Pisces energy. We have Venus. So Venus is our relationships, it's attraction, magnetism, it's our ability to receive, it's beauty, it's all of those energies which really align a lot with the divine feminine energy. Venus, when it's in Aquarius, is continuing to reshape values within relationships and communities. So we are asked, instead of asking who belongs to me, Aquarius is asking, what kind of future are we building together? And that's a powerful energy in a sacred union dynamic. You want that energy. You want that energy of the person that's thinking, we're not just here in this moment, and it's beautiful in this space. We're also looking at the future, and where are we headed? What are we doing? How are, and I'm somebody that's very goal oriented, evolutionary, like I want to be growing and evolving. So it's important that I have a partner who also has a high level of interest in growing and evolving. Otherwise, we're going to be going at different speeds, and that's just going to end up creating a lot of friction. right? So Aquarius is that energy that says, are we headed in the same direction? Are our goals aligned? Are their futures aligned? Not just this moment, but the future selves. This placement often encourages friendships, alliances, and unconventional collaborations that support a larger purpose. So you may find that you start to align with your soul group for those big collaborative goals, that people start to align with you. You know, maybe the 144,000 start to really align with me and the information that I'm setting out there, because now they're starting to look for that information so that they can, you know, evolve through that space. I just like to know I'm getting a spam call, but the last four numbers, or the last three numbers, are 444. So I'll take the 444 before I block the spam. Okay. So this is a beautiful time to connect to the people that you're meant to be building the things for the future with. We have Mars in Capricorn. It moves into Aquarius on Friday. I had to do the dates real quick. 24th, 25th, 26th. 27th. So on Friday. While Mars is finishing Capricorn, this is disciplined work. That's what Capricorn calls us for, to show up, to do the work. Like, Capricorn's the workhorse. It's the big daddy energy. It's that I will take one step, next step, next step, and I will get to the top of the summit and I'll plant my flag. I will achieve what I'm going to achieve, no matter how long it takes. I will make those steps day to day to day. I'm disciplined. I have devotion to that pathway, or to that highest self. In Capricorn, action has been structured, strategic, and responsibility focused. As Mars moves into Aquarius on the 27th, the energy is going to shift from that personal execution towards collective action. So projects that began as an individual maybe begin to expand into group initiatives or community movements. So that would be like with Hugs for Homeless. We have different ways that you can help the homeless through Hugs for Homeless, whether you want to give one-time donation, but specifically with this Mars moving into Aquarius and in community movements, that would align with the thing that we have, which is the Compassion Crew, or the Warmth Warriors. So I made it where you could have a subscription group. So for $1 a month, you could be part of the Compassion Crew, knowing that for that little amount, you're helping the homeless. You're helping somebody who doesn't have a roof over their head or doesn't have basic necessities. And we collect all of those together and we make backpacks that are filled with essentials and distribute them into community. This would be that energy of Capricorn moving into Aquarius supports community movements like that, where, you know, and the Warmth Warriors is $12 a month. So you could either support for $12 a year or for $144 a year. There's more stuff that you get when you become a Warmth Warrior versus the Compassion Crew, but that's explained on the hugsforhomeless.com website. But I just thought that it was interesting that the energy is like that. Hey. So Mars is finishing that work. Those projects are coming in. We have Saturn in Pisces. Now, everywhere that I've been looking, there's been all these people, oh my God, Saturn's moving 0 degrees Aries, 0 degrees Aries. And it's just like what all that means and stuff like that. So there's been a lot of stuff about these planets being in placements that they're not in. And that's according to mainstream astrology. That's not according to the living sky. And for someone that's a truth seeker, well, I want to work with the truth, with the true living sky. Saturn in Pisces, this is two different energies, the same as when we have Mercury with Pisces, right? Because Mercury is air energy. It's your thoughts and communications. It's definitely masculine energy. Whereas Pisces, being water energy, intuitive, spiritual, it's a very feminine energy. The same thing with Saturn. Saturn is your responsibilities, and karma can get tied up into Saturn, and especially in mainstream astrology. And then, so you have that strong masculine with that feminine energy as well. When Saturn is in Pisces, that's introducing the long-term work of bringing structure to the emotional and spiritual realms. So this is why we're seeing those things, like it's part of the reason. Capricorn and Pluto is why we're seeing a lot of what we're seeing out there right now. But Saturn in Pisces is bringing the truth to the spiritual. We're no longer going to tolerate performing spiritually, right? So just pretending. We're going to be finding the people, thank you. We're going to be finding the people that are performing and pretending, like Deepak, right? Deepak was pretending. He was pretending to be a spiritual leader. He was pretending to have all this insight and information. He was pretending to have this lifestyle that he was promoting. He was promoting spirituality and he was promoting God, but then turning around and saying behind the scene that God is a construct, right? That's that integrity that's no longer, like, we're no longer going to be aligned with people where integrity does not stand, and those are going to fall. So he's just one of many. So we're also being asked with that Saturn in Pisces to take responsibility for our inner world rather than escaping through fantasy or distraction, because that Saturn in Pisces, that Pisces energy can be distracted. That Pisces energy, it can be lax with those boundaries or prone to doing some distraction techniques. Saturn calls you to be very responsible. So it's asking you to be responsible with your spirituality, with your energy. And so over this time, this placement is teaching emotional maturity, compassion with boundaries, and spiritual practice that is grounded in reality. All right. Now, this week between the 24th of February today and the 2nd of March, which is next Monday, we are going to see the moon move through Taurus, Auriga, which is a lesser known constellation, but it still gives an effect. So we'll talk a little bit about that, to Gemini, to Cancer, and to Leo. So we're going through quite a few different transitions, right? Starting with earth energy, moving all the way through every element to fire energy by the end of the week. Taurus was where we're beginning, and this is stabilizing the body and material worlds. That's very earth-grounded energy. Auriga is reorienting your direction and skillful navigation. Gemini is activating communication and idea exchange. Cancer is recalibrating emotional and relational impact. And then Leo invites visible expression and leadership. Each stage helps to translate insight from the eclipse into something livable, relational, and eventually visible, right? Because Leo's going to want to show that. So if you look at the energies and you start to learn the energies of all of these planets, and speaking of learning these energies of these planets, on March 20th, I will be starting Christic Astrology Tier 1. So this is a 12-week, 12-session, over 20 hours of teaching, PDF, all kinds of goodies with it. To teach you how to, just give me a second. I want to get the one little blurb on it because I don't want to be telling you too much. All right. So here we are. By the end of level 1, a graduate is going to be able to calculate or interpret a chart in true sidereal, identify sun, moon, rising, Mercury, Venus, and Mars placements, understand elemental dominance and deficiency, and map the 3 axes. So identity to regulation, embodiment to expression, and bonding to drive. Those are the axes that we're doing. You'll be able to identify dysregulation patterns, recognize attachment style indicators, explain personality tension points clearly. At the end, you have to deliver a structured 60-minute personality reading, or like reading. So yeah, So this is this course that I'm doing. You'll learn about the 13 signs and 12 gates, elemental architecture, how to orient a chart, what we read first and why, and then how to identify dignity or strength, which is basic level, and so on and so forth. That's just level one. That's just level one. There's so much. It's going to be an amazing course. I'm so excited to teach it. So if you want to learn to work with the living sky, the energy of the living sky, and how that applies to you, and to be able to read charts, and this is, of course, based in true sidereal astrology. We're looking at the living sky. And we also, like I said, we include looking at Ophiuchus. We're not like tropical where we've gotten rid of that sign for some reason. All right, let's look at what else we have going on in this thing. So we've got the Taurus moon. The Taurus moon is asking you one question: what is sustainable? After strong celestial events, people often attempt to maintain momentum through effort alone. And Taurus slows the tempo and brings attention back to the body, to the resources, and to physical stability. So right now, what we want to be doing is we want to be simplifying our commitments. We want to be returning to our routine. We want to assess our energy, our finances, and our time, because that's Taurus energy. Okay. So my question is for you is, what insight from last week actually fits your real life schedule? What is truly aligned? Because you might get an insight, but maybe it's not the time. Maybe it's not aligned right now, or maybe it's not aligned right with, certain things, there's something that needs to occur. So look at that. What insight from last week actually fits your real life schedule? Then we go into the lesser planet of Auriga and Gemini, right? Into these two. So as the moon moves into those, we are in mental reorganization. This activity starts up. So we are going to have ideas multiplying, conversations are going to increase, and people are going to begin sharing insights they received during the eclipse window. So we're going to start to see this, oh, this is what was revealed, or, new stuff is going to start coming out because of what people determined through this phase. The risk of this phase with the Auriga and Gemini is that we may turn all that insight into too many plans, right? So the guidance here for the moon moving through these two is to capture the ideas, but delay making the decision until the clarity stabilizes. So don't make the decision through the Auriga or Gemini lens. Wait until you can ground that energy a little bit more. So the question for you this week is, what ideas keep returning this week? Because the ones that return the most, like if you're lying down, you're supposed to go to sleep, and you're like all of a sudden thinking about that thing again, and then middle of the day, boom, it's in your head again. Take note of that, because there's something significant from that particular insight that you're getting. It has more landing or more strength in it, right? Next, we move into the Cancer moon. Now, Cancer moon's water. It's emotional. I call it the mom of the astrological wheel, because it really does encompass a lot of those characteristics that we would align with a mom, or with that feminine energy, kind of like the opposing to the dad energy of Capricorn. So Cancer is asking, how does what the changes are with you, how are they going to affect the people around you? Because if the insights that you have are ignoring emotional reality, that's just going to create tension in your relationships. So this is the opportunity to recalibrate the tone, the boundary, and the communication, whatever these insights are. The guidance here is to speak calmly, explain the decisions that you made. And we don't have to over-explain. Once you begin to over-explain, people lose belief in you because they think you don't even trust what you're saying, that you have to keep explaining it. And you also want to listen before correcting. So we go back to that space about like listening, not just with our ears, but listening with our eyes and listening with our energy into the field so that we can pick up exactly what's being said. So leadership requires emotional awareness as well as direction, right? And it doesn't matter what you're creating. If you're creating something, you're leading that. You're the leader of whatever that specific product, service, idea that you're implementing. You're leading that. So it's important for you to understand that you need to have that emotional awareness, not just direction. And sorry, just getting an invite to go live. I'm trying to trying to shut it off. All right. Then finally, before we get to next, we get through this week, we go to Leo energy. And when the moon is in Leo, this is where your clarity is asking for direction. Okay. Leo is that visible leadership. Leo doesn't have a problem being on the stage. And Leo wants the whole show to be a success. So Leo's going to be good at directing, but you have to be careful, right? There's the fine line between going where your ego takes over and then it can become very prideful. So we want to ground that leadership and responsibility rather than ego. The healthy Leo expression is confident but measured communication, visible follow through, and encouragement of others, because Leo's like the cheerleader. Like, I want this to do great, looking good, kiddo. I don't know how many times, like, I'm not sure where, because I've not looked at my brother's chart through true sidereal or through my Christic lens yet, but he is Leo under his sun sign in tropical. And he has to have some Leo in there somewhere, because he shows up. He's the guy that's like, looking good, kiddo. Like as he's walking through spaces or whatever, and he sees people, like he's that type of energy. And that's a Leo energy, is that encouraging other people, really wanting to lift them up. The problem is when Leo becomes unhealthy, then you get dramatic declarations, you get reactive pride, and you can get a very controlling, I know better, I want this to be a success. And instead of valuing the input of others into that success, thinks they know better, so they are going to direct it and lead from that I'm egoic way and from the ego. So we want to stay in the healthy Leo. We want to use the energy in that healthy way. So the reflection for this is going to be, where are you being asked to step forward rather than stay quiet? Okay. The other transition we have this week is that transition from Mars, like that transition of Mars, which is currently in Capricorn, but going to transition into Aquarius. Mars leaving Capricorn ends a period of disciplined execution. A lot of us probably found it a little bit easier to tend to our routines and to do the structures, because we had that wonderful energy of Capricorn in Mars being that forward momentum. And like I said, Capricorn being that big daddy energy. As Mars enters into Aquarius, actions becoming collective rather than individual. And this shift is going to favor collaborations, community initiatives, and structural change. And we want that. There's a lot of spaces we need structural change. There's a lot of spaces where I just can't believe that people don't see it. Like, it's like completely blind and deaf and don't see it. And it's mind-boggling to those of us who have seen for a long time. So this is going to support those structural changes. But it also increases volatility if the direction isn't clear. So you have to get clear with the direction that you're heading in before Aquarius goes future oriented, or we're sending it in the wrong direction. Clear agreements prevent conflict when group energy accelerates, right? Like, I think about in my company, I started my company almost 5 years ago now, and it's been a solopreneurship. Everything that's created at Anshara'El has been created through me. I thought about, like, is this something that should have had a partner? well, no, maybe at some point there'll be collaborators that will have like more, opportunities, or, like maybe be like a teacher at Anshara'El School of Light. But it's meant to be a solo mission. And it's necessary for that, because when you do it too soon, like oftentimes like that whole clear agreements prevent conflict when group energy accelerates. So you have to get clear with your structure. And for me, I have to get clear with exactly what Anshara'El Pathway of Ascension School of Light is. I have to, be clear in, this is my company, this is, whatever it is, before I invite somebody in. Right. And then that contract would have to be really, really clear before allowing that. And the bigger the group that's being brought in, the more that clarity is going to be required, because you have just more and more variables, because more and more differences in views and ways of seeing things. So clear agreements are going to be necessary right now. So we're going to do our embodiment practice, because you know me, I get you to do an embodiment practice every time that we do a live, because truth is only true when you live it, right? Otherwise, it's just great knowledge or great information. Hi, Lavina. All right, so we're going to sit comfortably. I've got that down. I'm sitting. I'm going to have a sip of my tea while everyone else gets into position or is seated or doing what you need to do. Oh, I covered over my comments. Apology. Hi, Melissa. Sorry. So sorry. I hope you're still here. I'm sorry. I hid my comment, so I didn't see that there was a comment up. I apologize. Hello, sweet friend. Okay, so we're going to do our embodiment practice. We're seated down. Your spine's an antenna, so make sure that your antenna is straight. Sit nice and tall. Okay, and you can close your eyes. It's always nice to just close out the external stimuli, especially somebody that has ADHD, because it's like squirrel, right? So close your eyes, shut out some of that stimuli. And the next thing is going to be slowing down the breathing and deepening it. Just take a nice breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. And from this state, I want you to identify one insight from last week. Once you have that insight from last week, I want you to choose one small action that represents it in daily life. Now you're going to commit to repeating that action for 7 days. 1 week. 1 week of this new action. And then finally, you're going to release every additional plan. And I'll post that up in the Temple of Light group, which is a free group on my website. So I'll have the stabilizing post-eclipse momentum practice, embodiment practice. and it'll just have the steps written down. The purpose is to translate insight into sustainable behavior. Now, you don't have to do this as a meditative guided thing. You can sit comfortably, slow down your breathing, and just follow along. Identify one, write it down. Then choose one action that represents it and write it down. Commit to repeating it. Say, I will commit to repeating this for 7 days. And then I also release everything else and write it down. Okay, so it's beautiful, beautiful little embodiment practice. So we're in this leadership after fire stage. Fire reveals direction. Earth and water make it livable, right? All of the elements work together in harmony. And when you watch the signs, when you watch the planets go through each constellation, you start to understand how those work together in a very spiral way, this evolutionary way, right? The fire gives you the direction. You move from Aries fire into Taurus, let's say, Taurus grounding. So Taurus looks at that direction that you're giving it and it says, but we need to stabilize this. We need to ground this. We need to make it practical. There needs to be some structure here because fire can be wild and uncontained and passionate, and it can go in, in a scattered direction if it's not contained. The earth comes in to contain it, to structure it. Then water says, but we can't just have like wild energy. We can't just have logical energy. Like we also need this emotional energy. And there's so much that we're not aware of because our bodies aren't in tune to it. Like the spiritual realm is huge, right? And so when you're feeling into the field or intuiting into things, you're getting a much different information. We need to be considering the emotional aspect of it. And we get to the air. The air is very logical, right? The air has that very logical, and it would come between the earth and the water. Air would be in between them. So we get the earth to stabilize and structure. We get the air that has that mental component of it and about disseminating the information as well. And then, like I said, the water says we've got to make sure that this is emotionally sound as well. And does this align with us? How do I feel with this? What do I intuit from this before we go back into next cycle and the next cycle? And we cycle as a collective through these energies, but we all these energies. So there you go. That's your weekly celestial outlook. We can keep talking about just things about Christic astrology and what it is, or about true sidereal. You can ask if people had questions about some of those things. Yeah, glossary of terms. So last week you would have, it's about simplifying, about narrowing it down, and about grounding it into reality. Because last week, like, we had so much fire energy, which fire gets you fired up, gets lots of ideas and insight, and more energy. That was fire week. More passion, more energy. And a lot of us felt actually the opposite. We felt more, I know for me, I was very much lower energy last week than this week. I feel great. This week I'm like ready to go. That Taurus moon energy, yeah, let's do it. Let's ground it. Let's refine, like just pick the things that we're supposed to simplify and move forward. So today I got up and my routines were back because I'd been a little bit lax with my routines as well. But I got up this morning, I meditated, did yoga, painted, walked my dog, started work, was very effective at work and everything, do my life. It's just been a very productive day energetically. So yay, Taurus moon. And maybe it was hard for me yesterday too, because I have Aries rising and Leo moon. So just a little more fire energy. Who knows? When I teach you, and I say who knows, but I'm not, it's not a who knows. What it is I teach you how to work with this stuff. I teach you in that Christic astrology course. One of the first things that I get you to do is to start paying attention to the living sky. Where's the sun? Where's the moon? Where's Where are these things and how are you feeling? And you can go through. But those are things that are put inside that student playbook that I've created. So you'll have all these ways of, in the work that you get to do, the integration or embodiment practices that are a part of the Christic astrology are things like that, where it's important that, you're doing daily things and checking in on stuff. Oh my goodness, like so many notifications came up right at 2:30. That was a lot. Thank you, sweetheart. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. So Christic truth, I'm going to talk about that. So Christic truth describes a way of living and perceiving reality rooted in direct inner coherence rather than imposed belief. It points to alignment with an original order of being where awareness, responsibility, compassion, and clarity guide action. The purpose is not to escape from the world, but right relationship with it, restoring integrity between thought, body, nature, and conscious choice. In practice, Christic truth means learning to recognize distortion, return to inner steadiness, and act from clarity rather than reaction. So that's what Christic truth means. So the core principles are that you have an inner authority. Understanding begins through honest self-observation. External teachers can guide, but they do not replace discernment. Coherence over reaction. Actions take away from calm awareness, produce sustainable actions taken from calm awareness produce sustainable outcomes. Reactivity creates cycles of confusion and conflict. Responsibility of perception. Perception shapes experience. Clear perception reduces suffering and unnecessary conflict. Relationship with life. Human beings exist within living systems, not above them. Health improves when interaction becomes reciprocal rather than extractive. Integration. Growth is not rejection of the past, but integration of it into conscious choice. Service through stability. Helping others begins with internal steadiness. Teaching is demonstration, not control. Anshara'El Pathway of Ascension is a school of light devoted to the cultivation of clarity, ethical awareness, and conscious embodiment. It includes a spiritual dimension centered on the path of enlightenment, understood as the gradual stabilization of perception beyond fear, compulsion, and unconscious patterning. The teachings combine practical self-observation with contemplative practice so that insight becomes lived experience rather than belief. The aim is participation in life with steadiness, compassion, and responsibility. So there you go. Hi, Jeremy. How are you? Yeah. How are you? How are things in your neck of the wood? Mine's very woody. It's very woody and wintry still. Still wintry. So yeah, that's what's up. Ooh, very exciting. Very exciting. Have you had communication before? You should talk someday. Sorry, it was a bird. I thought it was something else there. It was just a bird. Yeah. Very exciting. Very, very exciting. So we were just talking about the alignment for the week, according to the true sky, the living sky, or true sidereal. We talked about integration after eclipse. Ooh, yes, yes, yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh my goodness, we could have some talks about some stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting, like for the people that hang out with me in the inner circles, like the stuff that, I could talk to them about but I don't talk about on here. Carol's like, I know. I know. Right. Yeah, definitely. I would love to see it. I feel like I can in my head already. Okay, this is going to be on a screen that you can't see because you're not on that side. But I'm going to see a cloud.
All right. Look at this.
I'm going to expand you. There we go. Oh, yeah.
So first of all, I'm going to show you this little one. Like, what the hell is
Yep.
that?
Oh, yeah. As soon as I saw it, I was like, ooh, 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 ooh.
But that's not the one that's got my curiosity, although that is very interesting that it formed in the last 20 minutes. It's this one right here. So if you can see, here's the sun, and a lot of this is covering it up. But look at that freaking thing.
Amazing.
What the hell?
Yep. Oh, yeah. That's not a normal cloud. Do you want to see cloud?
Here, I'm going to come over from this angle. There we go. Wow, it's just so crazy.
I'm like, can you see?
But this thing formed in the last 20 minutes, and that was never there before.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Especially there's an energy that you can pick up from it.
It really does feel like that, huh? And then these two as well.
Yeah.
Those are starting to form as well. Those are brand new. I think that the mothership is sending out the little baby ships.
Yeah, it very much looks like that.
Yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to share that with you. I thought that was very interesting.
Very, very. Thank you for that. That is, yeah. I'm going to sit with those energies. I think I'm going to connect in after I'm off my live.
Are you doing some Pisces work with the collective today?
No, not a whole lot of Pisces work. No. Okay. So I work with the True Sky. I'm working with True Sidereal and the Living Sky. So right now we don't have a lot going on in Pisces energetically. When we're looking at the lineup, we have, what was it that was in Pisces? Mercury's in Pisces, so our thoughts and communications, and then Saturn. But I know that in tropical, they're talking about how, it's like first degree of Aries and oh my God, like all this stuff. And I just let them just throw all their stuff out. And I don't work like that with the sky, right? Like the sky, the energies affect us as a collective, but they also affect us individually. The closer planets obviously are going to affect us more. So, and the moon is the one that, between the sun, the moon, and Mercury, Mars, and Venus, those are the big ones that affect us consistently. Mercury, Mars, Venus, the moon. There's a sixth one too, Jupiter. But so I just look at how the living sky is, and currently, so right now we have the sun in Aquarius, and we have the moon in Taurus, and we have, Mars is in Capricorn until later on, and we have Venus in Aquarius and Mercury in Pisces. So there's a lot of energies from that. But yeah, I talk about it from the sense of how to work with the true energies. I don't put the distortions in there. I love that you're on my live and we're chatting like this. I've wanted you on my live for a while.
Well, I'm happy to come up and hang with you anytime.
Yeah,
for sure.
Come have a chat. So back to so we just had the eclipse. So we're integrating all of that fire energy into it. But when I talk about astrology, my whole thing is the Christic truth. And when I talk about Christic, I just mean outside of religion, dogma, like I seek the truth of the truth. So I teach things like I teach about dimensions. I teach Christ consciousness. I teach how to live the way. I talk about toning and sound and somatics and spine as an antenna. And like, those are the things that I teach, and Christic astrology is a part of that. So, because we should be working with Mother Gaia, we should be doing planetary rituals to support her, connecting into like sacred sites like Mount Shasta. Like we should be doing all of these things on a regular basis, collectively as well as individually, and also working with the rest of life, the elementals, the planets, all of the energy. We should be working in harmony.
Totally. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You do sacred, excuse me. You do sacred toning. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I do toning. So I have a whole list of like the somatics, like the original tones. that we're meant to create from and use. I'm doing a Christic astrology course, and like I've been building it out, and I have it all the way to like the level, like tier 3, even though I'm just launching tier 1. And in tier 3, like I talk about, like I relate everything together. So the tone of the planet, the tone of the celestial bodies, how to work with those energies in a much more deep way.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love sacred toning. As a matter of fact, I have to go somewhere like in the mountains to do it because it's really loud.
Yeah.
Like it's insanely loud. I can't even believe how much voice can come out of me when I do this, especially when you channel it slow and deep and then really bring up the frequency at the end. It blows my mind, actually. Yeah. I can't do it in like a rural setting because it's too loud.
Yeah. I live on 40 acres.
That's plenty of land. I think you should be good.
So I am very blessed with my environment. You know, like, but we're meant to live in a more harmonic way with every living, and like with all the living energies that are out there, whether it's the planets, Mother Gaia, the trees, the beings, whatever it is. So that's what I'm just teaching is to how to live in that harmony, right? And
that's awesome.
Really remember.
Yeah, you're a great teacher. You're very educational. You're very kind, and you're very methodical about how you teach. And I think that's a really wonderful quality. Thank you for bringing yourself to the table to help people.
Thanks. I started with like, you know, I've always been a teacher. I say that to everybody. I've always been a teacher. Even when I was in school, I was always a tutor. When I left school, I chose nursing because of the teaching component behind nursing. I went in and I was teaching nurses. Like I used to teach doctors like cardiac life support and stuff like that. Like, so I've taught all through that. And even when I went through my trauma recovery and like healing phase, when I got through that, I just wanted to help everybody heal their trauma. And so, but I come at it from a teaching aspect. I'm going to teach you what I did to get through my stuff. And if you apply it, you'll be good. So it just became that teaching thing. But, you know, over time, I've had more and more and more awakening, more and more access to remembering the knowledge and remembering the truth and reading more texts and more, you know, access to just other stuff. So your knowledge base keeps expanding. It's just your ability to access your DNA to remember all of the knowledge that you have from all of your stored lifetimes. That's how you get the access to like that. And that's where I got to, was just, I was on this search to like connect to my monad and, you know, to embody my oversoul.
Love it.
Yeah. And that's what I want to teach other people, is how to embody your oversoul. Live heaven on earth.
We need good teachers right now to help others embody what they have hiding within themselves.
Yes.
They've been suppressing for so long, these beautiful gifts that just they're not even aware of.
We create the new earth. We create the new earth by embodying the truth of what that means. Right. And it was interesting because I got into a conversation on one of the groups that I'm in, and you know, people will defer to, you know, your blasphemy, Jesus Christ is coming and he will build the kingdom, you know, bring earth and heaven to earth. And it's like, if you're waiting for someone to do it, it's never going to be done. Like we have to take it into our own hands, and we have to start by knowing the truth and then embodying the truth. And that's how the truth becomes lived in everyone's experience, right? Like it's I don't wait for something outside of me to do nothing.
And even like looking for the answers outside of you. I mean, teachers can bring perspective to the depths of what you already know within, but you're never going to find the answers outside of yourself.
I tell everybody I am helping you remember what you already know. That's all I'm doing. And you need to discern for you if that aligns. And the first part is always learning to connect to your body so you can discern, because it's felt through the body, not through the logic center. And so many people are taught to vilify their body. I have nothing to do with my body. It's just a machine, or it's a whatever, right? But when you start to think of your body as being sacred and as being a temple, and that you know, and you treat it with that reverence, it changes everything. Right. Everything. And then you start to feel your body and you start to respond. And you're like, oh, I can feel the field. I can feel you in the field, and I can feel you in the field, and hey, I know you're being truthful, and I know you're not. Right? That's the beauty of the embodiment. And and part of that is we have to release the traumas. I think of it like, if you were to look at yourself, and you're meant to be bright white, like a light, right? You're meant to be this pure bright white light. But if you were to look at yourself, and people can do this by reading aura, you can look at the aura and you can see how muddy or dark or black, or like these spaces within it. And as you rid yourself of the traumas that you've held on to that you should have released, then that color becomes more clear, more white, right? And that's that stream of becoming connected to the oversoul, because you're removing the noise, like your pineal gland being calcified with fluoride and all the other stuff that they're doing. When you decalcify that clears the stream, so you can get the information direct from your oversoul, as opposed to using intermediaries, which is what many people do. They default to someone else because they haven't spent the time to learn how to do it themselves.
Yeah, well, and as a healer myself, I can testify and be truthful that it's easier for somebody else to fix us. It feels like, as the healer, to go find another healer to work with us than for me to heal myself. And a lot of us feel that way. I don't know if you feel that way, but
yeah, and for me, like, I have so much knowledge in it, but there is a point, and I talked to my friend Carol about it, like, I would love to have a circle, like a group of people that were at the same level vibrationally, the intellectual, like knowledge stream, whatever it is, so that we can come together as peers and have those conversations across the table, so that you're opening and expanding, not just, right? Like, I don't always want to be the teacher. That's like, I want to be in an environment where I'm learning from that peer level, right? And I think that's important for all of us. Like, I was never a big fan of Deepak. Like, I've never been one that's ever, I don't idolize anybody or anything external to me.
So with that said, though, did you still find that some of his teachings were important, but you didn't really relate to his person?
So
you could see parts of his truth as this person, and you're like, this isn't aligned with me.
So this is the thing with everything. It doesn't matter whether you're looking at the Bible, the Talmud, the Torah, the Quran, Deepak, or anybody else that is at that, there is false light stuff in all of it, and there's truths. Because they can't sell you the false light stuff if they haven't packaged it with some truth, because we won't buy it.
That's true.
So Deepak gave lots of beautiful things to the world. He spoke lots of beautiful things. The problem is the lack of integrity on the back end of it. There was a misconnect, right? It was just beautiful words, beautiful prose. That doesn't change that those words, and this is where I hope people that have worked with Deepak or used his stuff can take the good that you got from it and separate it from the man, right? Because that's, you weren't working with him in the capacity, under the intention and the knowledge and the wherewithal to say, I'm working with this guy who supports this person who's been convicted of these things and is saying these things, and I know all of this. And yeah, I'm still everything he's doing is yay, right? It wasn't from that. So you have to allow yourself to let that go. You didn't know what you didn't know, and that's fine. Take the good that you received from it, the information that you could use from it in the positive way that you could, and let go of the rest. And just let go of the rest. Every one of them sells something true. The Bible has probably, I think the Bible's around 80%, right? Of, fairly, where the stories are being repeated, and that's not the interpretation. Because interpretation is entirely different. But that's the way it is with all of them. They put enough truth in it so you get buy-in, and then there's the distortions and manipulations so that you never get to salvation or whatever the end goal is.
What's the reason for the manipulation? To harvest the energy?
Yep, a lot of it. Same thing with tropical astrology, right? I talk about this when I'm talking about when I'm talking about True Sidereal on Tuesdays and stuff, about how, we talk about energy looshing as a spiritual group. We talk about how we're looshing energy and they're collecting or harvesting our energy. We can see when you look at the football stadium from the top that it looks like an eye on our energy harvesting thing. And that's what they're doing. They're harvesting your energy. So then you take something like, we have this beautiful new moon in Aquarius, let's say, which was what the new moon was just in. But if that's not the energy that the new moon, like if the moon isn't actually in Aquarius at that time, and you're doing a new moon ritual to Aquarius, where does that energy go? Is that the energy they're harvesting because you're not doing the right thing, right? Because you're disconnected from the truth. That being said, they make these big, huge events like if a solar eclipse is happening and they say that the solar eclipse is happening under the wrong sign, you are doing a ritual unaligned while they're harvesting the proper energy. They're not being foolish to use tropical. They are using the freaking true sky, right? They're like, sun is in Aquarius, moon is in Aquarius, we got a new moon in Aquarius. They're not going, sun's in Taurus, moon's, that's a new moon, and not that at all. So that's why I work with the true sky, because when, like my friends would be talking about, this is years ago, they'd be like, yeah, I don't do the 888 things because I think, like they're just looshing and just harvesting energy. And I'm like, so then why are you using tropical? To me, that would be the same thing, right? So you're having these big, huge events like a solar eclipse, even bigger, right? Especially the total solar eclipse they had back on August 8th, right? That big one that went across the whole states. Well, they're telling you that's under this energy and you're doing that and they're harvesting all that energy to put it into the right space for them, right? That's why I think we need to be working with the true sky, because I believe that's firmly what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, how much of the educational textbooks and knowledge that we have based on physics and mathematics is true too, right? Same concept. Like what we're living under the laws of physics and mathematics is not technically the true universal law. We've been lied to for a very, very long time.
Exactly. I actually speak universal laws into existence now. I started recording them down and I speak them out, and so it is. And so it is. Let's put them back into place, right? Re-speak them and reaffirm them. But it's true. We're not working under, I think the whole world, if you looked at it, you've got, say, 60% truth of things that you're given, and then the rest 40% is lies and just to keep you off track. So you're either looking for somebody outside you or something outside of you, because you become that consumer where you put your attention and your awareness is so powerful, right? I think about how, you want to help with climate change, right? Well, the biggest thing about climate change is garbage, pollution. So how about you just stop buying things?
How about you stop throwing your garbage on the ground, people?
Just stop buying things, right? Like we and like on Temu and Alibaba and all those things there, they really, really bring that to, like, I don't understand how anyone can't look at it and go, so we went from making a Maytag washer and dryer that you could pass down to your family members in your will because it didn't break down, to now having one you're lucky if it makes it through the 5-year warranty that they're claiming it has at the store. And what happens when those things decay quicker? We have to buy more, and there's more in the landfill. And then you get things where it's like plastic garbage that like you just smells toxic, is toxic. And, I think for people waking up, I think, like, if you go into your store and you pick up a pair of shoes that are for toddlers and you read on the bottom of it, warning, this product contains toxic ingredients that could cause cancer or fertility issues, and you don't think that your whole world is wrong, because what government approves that to be okay? What company would make that knowing that truth? Right? Like, that's just right there. You're like, we're living in a freaking inverted clown world. Wake up. Right? Wake up.
It's hard. It's hard to be surrounded by this stuff. Sometimes it's not easy. Nope. It's really not.
It's not.
told David in the month of January, which was my birthday month, I just said, look, I don't want to go out. I don't want to hang out with people. I want to just do what I want to do, which is this video game. I'm just going to like lock in. I want to like just do my own thing. Nobody bother me. Okay. I'm upgrading somehow.
I'm hibernating. Okay.
Yeah. Well, just pulling away from what everybody else says I should believe or do or be. It's just chaos out there. I'm like, nope, not interested. That's not my story. I'm doing my own.
Yep. And that's the thing. You create your own.
Yeah. And I'm kind of crawling out of that. Like in February, I'm crawling out of that because ultimately that is me putting my ascension aside and being very earth-like instead of being a spiritual human. Yeah. So now I'm feeling I'm coming back into myself again, but in a different way. Like, well,
January, think about this. January is typically a month in which we are more reflective, we're more internal, we're more slowed down. That is the silent, still season, right? And you had your solar return, which your solar return would have you re-evaluating the year. And, you know, like a lot of stuff would be coming up. It always does around our solar returns. Right. And then February, the energy is starting to slowly pick up. And then March will be that birth, that beautiful new energy will hit us all in March, which will be nice.
And awesome. Yeah. And in California, too, we had a lot of rain in November, December, January, and this month. So we're going to have
a lot of flowers.
Big, super bloom, huge. It's going to be so amazing. I can't wait.
I know. I can't wait.
Share that super bloom with you so you can see it too. It's so
I would love that. I would love that. Yeah, it was a different year here too. I moved from Ontario to Alberta, which was not the direction anyone would think I would go because Alberta is typically colder, and everybody knows I don't like the cold, and I always talk about going south again. And you know, whether it's Arizona or Costa Rica or whatever, it's somewhere warm where I can have fruit trees year round and yada yada, right? So yeah, but I came here for my nonprofit. I started a nonprofit, Hugs for Homeless, with a partner that's based in Alberta. So I had to move here for at least the first year and a half to 2 years before maybe I can take a step back and from being more hands-on. And then the first year that I got here, Ontario had the worst wind. Like this year, Ontario has had the worst winter. And we had January and February were almost positively balmy out here. Like I almost got to see the ground completely because the snow was melting. It did snow again. But yeah, we had really mild weather, unseasonably mild. So I'm interested to see what the spring's going to look like here with that, because it'll be really, really interesting.
So you had mentioned that you're working particularly with homeless individuals. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So now I really have to chat with you. Maybe we can do this offline, but I have an idea that's been stewing in my brain to help the homeless, to help the population of garbage all over the ground, and to help each individual city with cleanup and making sure that people who are homeless are also earning a wage to basically buy food and clothing. But I've thought about this system for a while, and I don't want to give it away now, but I'm just trying to figure out how I can make it happen, because nobody's made this happen before. And I feel like there's a really big opportunity for both parties, for the homeless and then for people who pay taxes in the city, right? Like that kind of thing. So let's chat about that, because I would love to find a way to bring this to life and to make it work, because I've talked through this with people before, and I always get to a point where I'm like, it's not going to work. So let's figure it out together. Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely one that knows how to make things work.
I love that. So good. Well, it was so nice chatting with you. Thank you so much for bringing me up and letting me share the clouds with you and a little bit of some stories. But we should definitely get on a live together and hang again. And I would love to chat with you offline about this idea.
That would be awesome. Awesome. I look forward to it.
Thank you, Love Bug.
Love you.
Have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon.
You bet.
Okay?
Bye, sweetie. Now the whole thing is, he was good at it. I was like, now the whole thing is getting off of it, because I can never figure out how to leave when I get pulled into it. I'm always like, ooh. Okay, so just remember that the Christic Astrology course is coming out on March 20th, Tier 1. And when I talk about Tier 1, that is where you get to calculate or interpret a chart in true sidereal. You will identify the sun, moon, rising, Mercury, Venus, and Mars placements. That was the 6th one. It was rising. I couldn't remember it. You're going to understand elemental dominance and deficiency, because one of the things that I did with astrology is with the Christic astrology is I brought in all of my knowledge around identity, attachment, trauma, all of those things. So it will look at dysregulation patterns and how they show up under different moon or under different signs, and how that energy comes. So do check that out, March 20th. And if you're looking for something right now, because maybe your nervous system, March 20th. Maybe your nervous system has been a bit dysregulated, dealing with the dropping of the Epstein files, some of the stuff that's come out. Maybe it's very disarming for you, or just the regular things that are going on in society right now. I have a beautiful course that I created. It's 10 days self-paced. It has more than, it'll probably around 20 practices that you get with it. It comes with a guide with, journal questions and all kinds of things in the guide. Each day you spend no more than 25 minutes watching a video with me where I talk about something, and then I give you an embodiment or a grounding or a somatic practice to use. And that's just one day. And you can do this on a daily basis and be done in 10 days, or you can extend it longer if you want to. But it's just to return you to center. It's not a trauma program. It's not shadow work, ego dissolution, or some big identity thing. This is about returning to center, just coming back to yourself. So right now, and this is the last week, it's on sale for $55 Canadian. On the 1st of March. On the 1st of March, it goes up to its regular price of $88 Canadian. So that's available at the website underneath the shop. When you go to the website, bring up my other page. I'm looking where's the tab that my web page is open on. There we are. When you go to the website, it starts with home, which is the home page, and then it goes to the pathway, which is just a page that describes like the pathway of Anshara'El, and some of the suggested, like how you would go through, how the bridge, Christic astrology, everything else. Then you have begin. And when you pull the begin tab down, you get Temple of Light free. There's the membership pathway. There's the temple gate, which is where it shows you all the membership plans. And then you can enter into the temple, and there's also the link to book a call. When you go into deepen, there's the bridge to light stuff, which I have phase 1 up there, and phase 2 is going to be postponed. I'm not sure when. I'll test with the field and see when it seems like people are responding more to that. There's also the Christic Elemental Harmonic Restoration Program and Christic Nervous System Upgrade. So those are available there. Under orientation and alignment, there are the readings. I do readings using true sidereal and Christic astrology. I have a variety of readings. I also do soul alignment sessions and guardian mentorship. But if you want to do mentorship with me, you need to sign up for a call, and we can have a discussion and talk about what that would look like. Under library and store, you get, when you pull the tab down, you get books and mini classes, and you also get the Library of Light scrolls. There are some scrolls that I've written that are free for everyone to read, and then there are some that are part of a plan. So you'd have to be in a membership, one of my membership groups, to receive the other ones. And then there's the event tab, and it'll have like the latest events on there. It does have the Christic Wealth Activation Series listed down there, but that event has already finished. So you can find that purchasable now as a mini class underneath the library and store. Or if you become a Christic Mastery Circle member, which is the highest tier membership group that I have, if you become that member, you get it for free as a part of that membership group. I have a link for the Hugs for Homeless nonprofit, contact, and I also have the glossary of terms and the about page. So that gives you a little bit of an orientation on the website and how to navigate around there. And I'll be doing some updates on it because I have to update the front page because it doesn't have the coming events. It has the Why Money Stalls event there, which is now complete. The next book that I have coming out is Parisa and the Mermaid Who is Afraid of Water. The last book that came out was Tiana and the Pegasus Who Refused to Burn, and also Luminous Soul series book 6. I'm not sure if I'm going to be publishing book 7th on the spring equinox. I will get the Parisa one up, but I'm not sure about if I'm going to be doing 2 books for release at that point in time. But you can purchase them as ebooks on my website as well. Yeah, go check it out. Go check out the website. Join the free group. You might as well. The free group is free. And I don't spam you or anything like that. There's lots and lots of valuable information in that group, though. Embodiment practices, meditations, just general knowledge, videos, all kinds of stuff that's in that group. So do go and check it out. All right, guys, I love you. That is all for today. I will see you on Thursday, same time, same place. Or you can check out all my other channels. So it'll be around 1:45 p.m. Mountain Time. The live starts. And on Thursdays, instead of talking about the true sky and giving you how to work with the energies, we shift things and we start to talk about Christ consciousness, living the Christic way, and embodiment, the truth, like stuff like that. But we do tie in working with the sky because it's all part of it, living in harmony. Okay, so all of that will be available then. Go check out the website, and if you have any questions, sign up for a free call. It's available there on the top. That if you have any questions, I'll give you a free 30-minute call. And Jer Bear could set up that call. I think he left before I said that. All right, love you guys. I will see you on Thursday, 1:45, right here. Bye. Bye, guys.